Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We got the 84 GN back in the garage and it's time to do a check-in. We've done the engine replacement, we've broken it in somewhat, but there's a couple nagging issues that I need to address before I hop back into the break-in period. Namely, there's an oil leak that's coming from this side of the engine, and I think it's coming from this oil block right here. So I've disconnected the connector. I'm going to unscrew this right here. I'm gonna unscrew the turbo line there, and then I'm gonna try to put another full turn on that block. Hopefully I can make it, and that way we can take care of the leak. If not, then I gotta order a replacement block. I know G-Body Parts has them for sale, so hopefully we can do this as a cost-free fix, but if not, at least we know where to get it from. And this is a 1 1/16 socket. There we go. And there we go, that one's off. Okay, and now I have rotated it 360 degrees. It feels kind of wrong. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not think brass could take that type of torque, but hey, it made it. This is probably the way it was before. I just didn't remember how tight it had to be, but these are the types of things that you get with a lot of experience. So now we can tighten everything back up and hopefully that takes care of our leak. And now we're underneath the car. I see why it's been smoking so badly. All the oil's been leaking. But the thing is, in idle, in park, it wasn't doing it until it was super hot right after my drive. Then I would start to see a few drops come down. But this was all happening when I was driving. You can see because the fluid is going all the way back. It's touching the exhaust. It's on the transmission pan. It's even on the muffler. So we got to clean all of this up. We got to change the oil, and then we'll inspect what came out of the oil and make sure that we're on a good path. No bearing material or anything like that. Exorbitant bearing material anyway. Now, I have to pause the video for a second because I just caught something really weird in my oil filter. So I'm using a Fram, the 3387A. That's the one for 3.8s from the 80s all the way up to the 2000s. And I know Fram has caught a lot of flack, but I've never had a problem with them. So I use it until I see this. Let me take a closer look with you. See that? What the heck is that inside of the oil filter? Let me get a pick tool, we'll try to bring it out. Yeah, that's horrible. There's still some stuff in there that just won't come out easily. Until, of course, it's in your engine. So yeah, guess who's not using Fram anymore? Thankfully, since I have so many Grand Nationals, I kept an extra CarQuest one. So 85040 gets you a sealed, hopefully safe oil filter. And I'm switching over to Lucas break-in oil. This is SAE 30 and it already has zinc in it, so I don't need to add that additive. I'm gonna continue to use the flat tappet cam in this car, and maybe on Brooklyn, I'm gonna switch over to a roller setup. So once this is all dialed in, we can probably switch over to Brooklyn as we finish up the Hell Ute. It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting an 87 forever, and now I finally have one. Mind you, I got that thing for $5,800 plus the U-Haul. So even with a bum engine, I'm still looking up. We've still got a lot of rust repair to do on that car, probably the worst of all the 3 GNs that I've had. But anyway, let's finish up one before we start talking too much about the others. Uh-oh. Oh, look at this. It's not moving forward. It absolutely refuses to go backward. And it looks like my shifter cable is bad. Let me go ahead and order a new one right now. Okay, back underneath the car and it is still leaking. So let's see. It's on this side. I see a lot of wetness right here. There's a block-off plate for the mechanical fuel pump that's on the NA38s. That could be it. Let me get some more light on here. Small mess. So this is weird. The leak seems to be coming from this area, but there are no obvious signs of the gasket leaking. I have a spare laying around, so let's clean up the plate and replace it. So I got my replacement gasket in. Unfortunately, I could not get the shifter cable today. AutoZone burned me, said they had 2 in stock. It was the hub store, so nobody else has it anywhere close. So I'm waiting on that to come in from Rock Auto. Maybe next week I'll tackle that. I've learned my lesson. Instead of taking it off the lift, I'm gonna leave it up, I'm gonna let it run, and then hopefully we'll make sure that there's no more leaks before I drop it on down. And fingers crossed we can get it out on the road and have a successful test drive. Unfortunately, it is still leaking, and I think my timing cover is cracked, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. Starting with my coolant and oil, I'll drain those by turning the drain plugs loose, and then I'll unscrew the water pump pulley bolts. Then I'll remove the 6 crankshaft pulley bolts. Next, I'll remove the main crankshaft bolt and all the timing cover bolts. Let's see what I find. All right, and here's the inside of our timing cover. Things look pretty decent until you start to look right in here. And that is clear. It's a crack going all the way down here. And that's what was causing our oil leak. So we need to get that taken care of. And also what's going on here, this cap slash cover just pops off. Looks like there's some, I won't even call it a tang or anything like that. It's almost just press fit, but it goes in there and it's supposed to not come off, but it did come off. And this is a rope seal. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep the rope seal or replace it. I'm already at it and I don't want another leak, so I may just replace it, but just interesting to see. Now, the reason for the crack is simple. I messed up. Here's the engine side of where that cover cracked. And if you notice, here's that dowel pin. I remember tapping on the cover with a rubber mallet because it just didn't go on as smooth as I expected. And that's probably where the crack happened. What I should have done was I should have taken it back off. I should have scuffed this up, make sure everything was clean on it. Maybe even drill a slightly bigger hole in that dowel pin hole. But because of that, now I have to reseal and reinstall all of this. And then retime the camshaft sensor. Here is a good timing cover. It's off of a 109 block that I was supposed to be using for this engine rebuild, and we ended up finding out from my machinist that the engine was bad. But hopefully once I clean everything up, I'll notice that the timing cover is good and we can reuse it. The one that was originally on this 84 is still attached to the long block and it's right there. But I want to keep that engine intact, so let's use this. What I want to do is I want to take off this oil filter, get into the oil pump, make sure everything is good there, clean it up, make sure it has no cracks or anything that will cause this to leak. And looking at the bottom, I see that it's been drilled and tapped for a 14 and a 20 bolt oil pan, so it's the best of both worlds. Looking on the inside, besides being dirty, everything looks pretty legit. I don't see any issues. I am gonna swap this seal out. It looks It looks brand new, to be honest with you, but I don't want to take any chances. It's not worth it. So we already have an extra seal laying around anyway. So we'll get everything cleaned up and be ready to go. I tore into this cover expecting just to pack the oil pump, but luck has not been on my side. The walls of the pump were pitted, enough to make me uncomfortable running it. Here's a good one for comparison. So I went to my storage unit and borrowed a timing cover off of one of my spare 3.8 blocks. All right, so I'm back from storage and I got the replacement timing cover here. I began by putting on this fuel pump cover, and I'll put up this water pump. I'll take off this housing to inspect and make sure that it's packed and ready to go. And then we'll just get ready for reassembly. Everything looks really, really good. So I'll just scuff everything up and get it ready for reinstall. I started by laying out some RTV and some gasket material. Finished up by drilling out the dowel pin hole for better clearance. And now I think we're ready. All right, so we got our engine block cleaned and prepped. I've got my timing cover right over here, ready to go. And we're just gonna slap it on. After we put it on, we'll have to move the engine over to top dead center and rotate everything so we can drop our camshaft sensor in and get everything dialed in. Okay. Let's hope we only have to do this once. Yeah. After that went on, I had to clean up the long bolts that go through the engine and put new RTV on them. I then rotated the engine to 25 degrees after top dead center, rotated the oil pump to line up with the cam sensor, and then installed that cam sensor gear. Here's how everything lined up. Remember to rotate the base of the sensor a bit to the left. All right, so everything is back together now. We've got fluids filled up. We've got oil pump primed. I've disconnected the injectors so we can do a little bit more cranking because it probably bled off because I did all this last night and now we're in the morning time. And we're just gonna turn it over a little bit, see how it sounds, and then we'll hook that back up and then give it a first crank for the reel. This is really a job that you only want to do once. So I was really pissed that it took me a second time to have to do this. And there's a reason why it sat here for, gosh, maybe a month, probably longer. But I worked up the gumption to do it again, and here we are. So let me grab some keys and we'll test it out. I had to stop the video for a little bit because I was hearing a light metal scraping sound. Don't know how to describe it really, but what was going on was the crankshaft position sensor was rubbing up against a metal bracket that's on the back side of the pulley. That metal bracket basically tells the sensor where the engine is in its rotation. And when it rubs up on the sensor, you're hearing a god-awful sound that you think is your motor grenading, but it's really not. So I got up underneath the car, I adjusted the sensor. There's a bolt on the bottom side of here. It's an 8mm. Once you loosen that, you can adjust it inward and outward and kind of dial it in perfectly. So that's what I ended up doing, and it looks like we're in good shape now. I'll continue to let it run, keep an eye on the fluids, keep an eye on the temperature, and maybe we'll get it out on the road. It looks like it's gonna rain. It's been raining every day this week, so no big surprise. But I would really like to know by the end of this video whether it's done leaking. So let's get after it. So we got coolant temperature at 154, which is good because I have a 160-degree thermostat. Looking good out here. Ground is dry, no leaks. Yeah, let's continue to monitor it. And before I continue running it, let me stick on that air filter. All right, so this is a long time coming. I am very excited to be able to put some more miles on this thing and not have to worry about the oil puking out. So I'm just gonna take it on a quick run. I got my broken light from Harbor Freight, so I'm gonna try to make it to the gas station, make it to Harbor Freight, and then back. Maybe take some cool shots with it, but let's see how it does. I'm gonna head over to the gas station, see how many gallons it takes to fill her up. I still need to fix my fuel sending unit. I have a digital dash, so I'm gonna need to take some time and find the right sending unit that works on it. It's a 0 to 120 ohm, and the bulk of the ones out on the market today are only 0 to 90 ohm. So it's gonna distort my readings a bit. So I'm trying to hold off and find the right one instead of just settling for the wrong one. But I only want to do that one more time. I've dropped this tank more times than I care to admit. It's probably a little loud in here. You can't really hear me well, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. The car's doing really well. With my foot off the gas, it's smooth. It almost sounds like it's not even running. Now, that may be a testament to the wind noise being higher than the engine and the exhaust, but responsiveness is right there. I don't think I'm getting much boost though, because I feel power, but I don't feel the power that I felt in T-Top. So I think there may be some adjustments that I can do with the knob to kind of liven things up. My boost gauge, I don't know if it's working or not, but I'm only registering like 1 or 2 pounds. So that kind of makes sense with the amount of power that I'm feeling right now. All in all, I'm happy with this right now. I'm gonna continue driving and do a couple more test rips. And when I'm doing my test rips, I'm getting 11.7 for the AFR, no knock. So no reason to be mad. Seems like everything's catching on. I'm driving on brand new suspension components that I haven't done an alignment on, and it shows. I can feel it in the wheel. I can feel it in the way that it wants to take off and turn. So more to do soon. All right, so we made it to Harbor Freight. Let me grab my light. I don't think I showed it to you guys, but this is the fake one for my LED light. So hopefully they take it back and exchange it for something else. All right. We made it. And just like that, got a replacement. Gotta love those 1-2 year warranties. Had to get another 1 year warranty because, you know, if it happened once, it'll happen again. But let's get back on it. So that's about it for this episode. I'm really happy with how everything turned out. It's no longer leaking, and we can get back to having more fun with it. So on the next episode, I'm going to turn up the boost a little bit more as we get out of our break-in period. We've put in about a couple hundred miles on it so far, so we're nearly there. And we're going to turn up the boost a little bit, see what the cam, what the upgraded turbo, headers, downpipe, see what they can all really do. and I'm excited to see how it livens up the good old hot air engine. At that same token, this is going to be the first Grand National that I sell this summer. I'm looking to get high teens or low 20s for it, depending on how many more mods and time I put into it. I think it's worth it. It's a really good shower and it gets attention everywhere. And given where the market is on these, I feel like it's a really fair asking price to know that everything has been touched and upgraded, and it's a solid runner. So if you're interested, leave a note in the comments, or better yet, shoot me an email. Let me know and I can send you more information on it. But in the next episode, we will turn up the boost and have some more fun with it. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to you in the next one.